temples the richest religious library for the history of Egypt's creed in the late ages. They are surrounded by towering palms and trees, all adding to the rich natural scenery. In Philae, the conflicting tribes of Nubians and Belimes agreed on a peace treaty, and the island became a peaceful gathering place for these tribes. Thousands of years ago, earlier temples were built in the same site of these temples that exist today. They were dedicated to the cult of goddess Isis, the closest goddess to the heart of the Egyptians. Isis was worshipped for being a loyal wife and devoted mother. She had been known for her ability to cure patients. She was simply the goddess of love and peace, equated to the Greek goddess Aphrodite. The oldest surviving temple buildings date from the time of Nectanebo I, 370 BC. This was originally the vestibule of a temple dedicated by Nectanebo to his mother Isis, mistress of Philae, revered in the Abaton shrine, and to Hathor, her double or her manifestation. This elegant structure had 14 columns with varying floral capitals. Only 6 columns remain, and nothing is left of the roof. Between the columns are screens, 3 meters high, topped by cavito cornices, and a frieze of royal cobras and decorated with reliefs of Nectanebo making offerings. At 3 points there were doorways through the screens. The rest of the buildings now to be seen were erected by the Ptolemies in the last 2 centuries BC and by the Roman emperors in the first 5 centuries AD. The hall of Nectanebo leads into the large outer court of the temple, bounded on the north by the first pylon and on the east and west by colonnades. It dates from the end of the Ptolemaic period or the reign of Augustus. It's 93 meters long and has 31 plant columns 17 feet high, with capitals of very different forms. Most of the columns have reliefs showing the Emperor Tiberius making offering to the gods. The roof of the colonnade, part of which has collapsed, is decorated with stars and flying vultures. The first pylon, 18 meters high and 46 meters wide, is perfect in condition. It consists of 2 towers and a central doorway. The ancient Egyptian religion portrayed gods as humans, eating, drinking, marrying, and giving birth to children. So it's normal to see Isis on the walls and her son Horus behind her. On the front of the east tower, a huge figure of Ptolemy XII, Neos Dionysos, grasping a group of enemies by the hair and raising his club to smash their skulls. Later, Christians tried to deface these pagan paintings. At the foot of the tower are graffiti of Greek and Demotic inscriptions written in later periods, when the cult of Isis came to an end. One of the engravings had been carved by the troops of Napoleon Bonaparte in 1799. The names of the British soldiers who died in Sudan were inscribed as well. The second pylon is 12 meters high. The reliefs shows Neos Dionysus dedicating the sacrificial animals to Horus and Hathor. The piece of granite at the foot of the tower has been smoothed to form a stela. It's a bigger copy of the Rosetta Stone. The text is similar in contents, but this one is written in ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. It's a letter of gratitude from the priests of God Khnum to Ptolemy V, who exempted them from paying taxes when the flood was poor for 7 years. Being a mother goddess, Isis needed a special place in her temple where she can deliver her baby safely. Here comes the role of the birth house. It's called the Mamizi. The whole building was dedicated to Isis or Hathor in honor of the birth of her son Horus. That's why the other 7 goddesses are celebrating by beating the tambourines for 7 days continuously. A similar tradition is still practiced till today in Egypt, as the mother gives an infant's party at home after 7 days of the delivery. This tradition is known as Sebua. The walls, columns and screens between the columns are covered with reliefs and inscriptions, mostly by Ptolemy VII, Augustus and Tiberius. Of particular interest are the reliefs in the last chamber, which depict scenes from the childhood of Horus, including Horus as a falcon in the marshes of the delta, and Isis suckling Horus in the swamps. The conversion of the vestibule and court into a Christian church is recalled by Coptic crosses incised in the walls, and the Greek inscription that this good work was done in 527 AD during the reign of Justinian. The Egyptian Christians designed their unique form of the cross by reshaping the Ankh, or the key of life hieroglyphic symbol, and turned this section of the vestibule into an altar after defacing the original scenes. The temple is the house of the goddess, and her private room lies in the rear dark part of the temple. It's a sanctuary, also called the Holy of the Holies. A number of antechambers flanked by dark side chambers lead into the sanctuary. It's lit by 2 small windows to emphasize its mysteriousness and sanctity. The granite base is for the sacred boat that was bearing the golden statue of Isis. It was presented by Ptolemy III and his wife Bernice. The inner walls recite a part of the famous legend of Isis and Osiris. Isis, who loved her murdered husband Osiris so much, had turned herself into a kite to look everywhere for his dead body. She resurrected him by beating her wings above him. Then, from the soul of Osiris, gave birth to a baby boy, Horus. Here, Hathor became Horus' mother through breastfeeding. So the scenes show her playing the maternity role by holding the baby tenderly and suckling him with her divine milk. Another special scene inside the sanctuary shows Isis carrying baby Horus on her lap and suckling him. Egyptians glorified the role of the mother in the society, and Isis was a manifestation of that belief. Emperor Hadrian built this gateway in favor of his young friend Antonius, who drowned in the Nile. One of the scenes shows the god of the Nile, with a snake around his body, pours water from 2 jars under a rocky crag. To the right is the soul of Isis in the form of a bird, and a pharaoh whose cartouche has no name within. During the Middle Ages, Philae was known as Anaselugut Palace. The legend tells of a young man who loved a girl, but her father banished him to Philae. Anaselugut followed her to the island on the back of a friendly crocodile, and they were finally reunited. The Nilometer is a well built of stone close to the Nile. On its sides are marks that measures the highest and lowest rises of the stream. This is of importance to the peasants for irrigation and also to officials for the purpose of taxation. The legend of the destruction of mankind is inscribed on the remaining walls of the destroyed temple of Hathor. It tells about the goddess of war, Sekhmet, the lioness, who used to drink the human blood, until they drugged her by adding red wine to the blood. Later they celebrated by playing on several musical instruments, especially the comic god Bes, the dwarf, who played the harp and tambourine, while monkeys played the lyre. The kiosk of Trajan, with its remarkable floral capitals, dates from the Roman period, but was left unfinished. It's an enchanting island with a magnificent assemblage of temples that symbolize love and peace. Philae, the pearl of Egypt.
Yes, Philae, my island at the edge of Nubia. Thus is Osiris saved from the waters. Once again my temple sparkles in the sun and glows with 1,000 lights, gladdening the hearts of those who love beauty and faith.